So just having a look at 3D AI models to compare here. This website is called Layer, so layer.ai. It's mostly for video games, but I'm obviously using this in an industrial design context. So I'm going to try here dropping an image in that Hector made yesterday and push it out with all three and see which kind of gives the best result here. So we can leave the weight here at 100%. In here we can choose one of three models. Let's do it in this backwards order actually, because these are the ones I know more. Rodin I have touched on before. So we can take Treepo here, and in the face limit here, there's no real need to limit the faces because it's going to generate triangulated faces anyway. I'm just going to guess it to about 40,000. So of course here what I could be doing here is unintentionally biasing the results, but let's just see what we get here. So let's use Forge to forge it into a 3D model. Watch the timer here. Treepo here, of course, is just the API from the website. The website has more features like retopologizing that we're not going to use here. Now, of course, the overall form of the bottle isn't that complex, but the some of the detailing here, it probably won't pick this up because the image isn't too high res. Around here, may not pick it up as well. And that's fairly slow in my experience compared to, say, Trellis. So let's just see what we get out of this here. In a way, to be honest, it feels slower than Treepo on the website. Let's just see what happens if we go onto the website. Do the exact same thing here. So we've got a model here, and if I click on it, I can click this button here to open it in a 3D viewer, change the lighting and things. So now it looks to me here that it's a bit stubby. I don't know why, it looks a bit stubby in terms of the form. The texture's a bit weird, it's certainly scaled wrong. The handle's not great because we want a smooth transition between here. Obviously it's seeing that it's symmetrical, I think. Well, of course it's projecting the textures from back and front, so yeah, we have some weird kind of things going on. It's not terrible, but let's just download a copy of that. First time I've been using it, so let's have a look here. So we only have the option to download it as an OBJ, so let's do that. Stick it in the downloads folder. Now let's just do the same thing here in Treepo. So let's go with, we don't need to describe it at all, we've got an image, we're going to create it. That took a while here now, that took 60 seconds, a good minute. Let's go back to the dashboard here. Let's do that again. Oops. Let's do that again, but this time use a different model. So let's use the image, same image. This time we're going to use Trellis. Trellis, in my opinion, is absolute king. Here you don't have access to things like this. There are ways to control Trellis, to control the mesh output that you don't have access to here, but let's just run that anyway. Let's see, this should be quicker. So that is a bit quicker. Hasn't done a great job here, that's not looking good. So, no, that is not great at all. Let's just run that here. If that gives a weird result, I've been testing this yesterday and it was perfectly fine on the web version of Trellis and Hugging Space, so let's just do it here. Let's have a look here. So I'll take that same image. I was getting fantastic results here. Now in the generation settings here, they've increased some of these options here. This wasn't here yesterday, so they've actually allowed us to control the mesh a bit more here. So I'm not going to touch any of these. Let's just let's not touch this. I mean, we could increase the sampling steps to get better quality images. It'll increase the time. Let's do that while we're here. And I probably don't want to increase this or this. Let's generate the image here. So it's going to generate the views from several angles. So come back here now, we've got our trellis creation. And the mesh you can see is janky, but that doesn't matter, as you'll see in a moment. Now this one looks quite thin in this direction, I'm not sure. Let's have a look at it untextured. Let's have a look at wireframe then. It's not terrible, but it feels like it lacks a bit of a smoothness around here. Let's see what we get out of this anyway. So let's export this. Again, we've only got an option to do no OBJ here, which isn't always the case. Some will let you do GLBs and USDZs, etc. So let's try all over again here, same image, and let's use Rodin. So Rodin, from what I understand, the code behind it is open source, but they're kind of building on it. I don't really care about textures. I'm just going to leave the textures off. You have the face limit control here. And to keep it fair, let's go for the 40,000 again. And let's see what we get. Now, what we see here is just a 3D kind of Gaussian splat. Now we can extract these here by using the two extract buttons. In the GLB extraction settings, let's not simplify it. Texture size doesn't actually matter because I'm going to delete the textures anyway, so I'm just going to drop it right down. Press extract GLB, and it'll create it over here. In my experience so far, this is the best way to run any 3D AI model. So here we're seeing quite different results here, where this is really fat, and we saw one a moment ago using Trello, it looked quite thin. Let's just open that, because it's not wrong, it's not bad in any way, but is it what we want? Again, this is quite slow here. I'm not sure what they're using on the back end and the GPUs. So I don't know. I mean, is it exactly what I wanted? Does it need to be exactly what I wanted? Does it have its own charm? It's like, I like how well this fillet seems to kind of come across here. Sometimes you can't actually see how good the topology is when it's textured though, because sometimes all you can see is the texturing, implying there's like a nice filleted edge there, but there isn't in the mesh. So let's have a look here. We've got options to export here. To be honest, OBJ's a bit annoying, but I believe you can push out quad OBJs in here. You can push out quad FBX files as well. Let's go with an FBX here, and let's retopologize it at 18,000 faces. So let's do that. Now when I press download, it'll do the retopolizing. Back into Trellis here. Where's my GLB? Download my GLB here. So let's call this Trellis Web. So the only option here to download is the GLB, which is fine if you've got Rhino 8 or newer, or if you're on Blender. Yeah, I think I quite like that. I think when that downloads, I'll be quite happy with that. So that's the untextured result there. No, this is not great. I believe the result here is more accurate to what we want, but let's just see what we get out of Rodin. So that was quite a high face count, but actually so I told it not to texture it, but it's texturing it anyway, which is weird. So this is the Rodin result. It's actually not great at all. I'm not sure I'd say it's unusable, and in some ways this is quite smooth. It's quite a good representation, I think, of the original geometry. So let's have a look here, and what we'll do is I'm going to download this anyway. This one, let's just call it Rodin. Or was that OBJ? Yeah. Rodin. So, coming in over here now, did I download this? No, it's still downloading. That must have downloaded somewhere. Anyway, let's just go back into Rhino here. We can do file, import, and we can find them. And let's have a look at the Rodin one. Okay, scale will never be correct at the moment. This is 2 millimeters, so what I'm going to do here is just going to get the orientation right here. I'm just going to flip it that way, 90 degrees that way. I'm going to bring it above the origin here. Now, in terms of scale, I think I'm not going to do this obviously to volumes. You know, it doesn't need to be that accurate at the moment. So let's have a look. For example, let's just take a random dim. Actually, let's do it in the top view. Can I see here? Get a rough idea of what the kind of size of the top is here. Oh, vertex snap on there, probably didn't really want that one. So at the moment it's 0.3 mil. We probably want it to be 45. So let's just go, let's take this object and let's scale it by about the origin by 0.3 over 45. Oops, that's the wrong way around. Let's do 45 divided by 0.3. So at the moment now the lid's about 40, which is okay. And what I'm going to do here is let's just put it on its own layer here, because I actually want to keep them separated here. Lagging a bit. So let's go, let's call this rodent. Change the object layer. So change object layer, there we go, and let's bring in some other ones. Let's do file import. I'm not really sure which is which there, to be honest. Let's have a look. Which one's this one? That seems to be about the same scale actually. If I look, it's even smaller. So if I do that to about there, and do the whole scale to the same value. So just keep it similar. Let's do, that looks like a trellis result actually. 0, 150, that's fine. Move it up a bit. So that's the trellis result. I can tell from the mesh what trellis normally kind of gives you. But which one was it? Was it the trellis on the layer or was it the trellis on the website? I can't remember now. Let's just call this trellis 1. Now let's, so if I go back to my files here, where can I see? I've got files here, so I can open them separate windows. That's good. So I've got rodent, trellis, and all that, and treepo. Okay, so let's have a quick look here. Let's have a look at the untextured result here. The wireframe, sorry. Look at that wireframe, look at that wireframe. So that's the fat one is the treepo result from here. So let's do, let's just move that across for now. And let's do another import file, import. So we've got this one, okay. It's going to be our fat one from treepo, isn't it? So let's have a quick look at the size here. Again, I'm going to scale it up to that 2 mil and then scale it about the 150. So it's about the same size. And I'm not sure what determines what size it actually comes out at really. It depends on the model. So we've got another one there. Let's have a look at that again. Let's make this to be rendered for a second. You'll see the textures not there on the OBJs, but they will be on the FBX files. Something I do like about that, I kind of like it comes up here, shows that kind of indication of the lid being there. I think that's a good thing. I might keep that. So what do we call this one? This one's treepo 1. Let's change that object layer. Just lock and hide that a second. Oops. So what else have we got? Let's do file import. This time we're not doing OBJs, we've got GLBs, so just click supported files. So we've got trellis web here, which I think is typically giving the best result. Size wise, how big are we? Let's do a dim. Let's think from there to say there. 143. Let's do let's scale it. Let's do 40 over 143 roughly. Again, I'm not doing any kind of volume calculations here, we're just having a quick look. So let's have a look over here. Let's make sure this change object layer. This can be trellis. This is our second trellis option here. Now where is our FBX? Where's our FBX from Treepo? Download. Okay. Shouldn't re-topologize it, should just let me download it, that's fine. So Treepo convert. Let's just, oh, maybe I've already put it in on accident. So, hold on. File, import. Let's do it this way so we can see which is the FBX. Motion builder. Did I already bring that in? No, I didn't. So that's good. So we've got our FBX here. Click no at that point. This one I'm just going to hide it for a moment. Again, let's go into the front view here. Let's bring this up. Let's have a look at what we've got out of Treepo here, where it's retopologized into quads even. Hasn't, I don't think it's able to add symmetry at the moment, but I don't know. I don't think it's great. They all seem to struggle here and here, I think. I mean, it's hard to interpret the image. There's some interpretability, I think. But I think, you know, this is a smooth transition. This is a smooth transition, and between those two profiles is a smooth transition as well. Let's have a look. So we've got our options here, and let's just put that on its own layer here, and let's call it Treepo 2. I'm just going to hide that. So let's have a look. So the Rhodium result here, would I use this? Who knows? Let's do a quad remesh and see what we can get out of this. Let's preview it and hide the input. Let's convert it to a sub D while we're at it. Let's go into shade so we can see the topology here. We want to force symmetry about the X in this case. This is your X axis here. Is that bad? It's alright. We lose detailing here. That's fine, we would re-add that later. I mean, actually I really like that it has put detailing in on the bottom, like it's guessed that, it's assumed that. And that kind of works quite nicely. You know, I'm going to keep that. We've got 2,500 faces, I'm okay with that. Go into my rendered mode here. Still gives that kind of ridge, which actually kind of is there in the image. Well, let's keep that. I'm going to shade it here. So, hide the mesh. That's kind of example number 1. You'll see it goes a bit janky over here. If I try and select you know, edge loop, if this was done properly in mesh modeling, you know, we'd be able to select that edge loop, but obviously that's not possible at the moment. That's not going to happen for a while, I think. We could, I could certainly have guided that in the quad remesh, but I'm not going to go to that level just for the sake of this example. This is the trellis version from layer. Let's have a quick look here. So I don't like what it's doing there, but I'll just change the quad count in a moment. It's about the same number of quads. No detailing on the bottom. And actually, I don't like what's going on here. I mean, you've got like a big kind of quad here. The way it's forcing these edges. These are kind of big radiuses, these are smaller. I don't know, I don't really like this at all. Let's have a quick look. Increasing that now. Let's go a bit higher. Do I like it anymore? Not particularly. It's alright, let's just keep it like that then and hide the mesh again. The reflections, slightly wobbly, for example here, which I don't really like. Let's go back to Treepo. So this is Treepo 3 layer, and it's done a weird job here. It's really fattened it and flattened it out here. Obviously it's very thick through here, I mean really, really thick. but kind of has its own charm as well, I would say. Let's see what we can get out of this. Oops, in this case we need to reflect about the X and not the Y. So no symmetry in X. I like it's kind of maintaining that ridge, but that's kind of detailing we would have to add back in later. That's okay, and actually again, it's a really nice job here of putting some detailing in on the bottom, which it's kind of basically assumed. Symmetry is not turned on at the moment, it's not working, so sometimes you have to force it to come on properly. So I'm going to do that in a second. I'm going to drop the quad count here because I think we can simplify this and get a softer form, making sure that the symmetry is working now. That's kind of good in many ways. I like that actually. So a quick look from the front. Again, I think I'm going to have to so it's kind of got this detailing here, but I'm going to have to fix that in a moment. I'm going to keep that. And then if we go to, do I like this? I don't know. Let's have a look. Some things I like, some things I don't like. I mean, in a way, I want to kind of take out all the inside face and just redo that bit, but I'm going to leave it for now. So we've got Trellis. This is the web-based version of Trellis from Hugging Space. I think is giving the best results. Something weird going on here. I normally don't get that. Doesn't really add that detailing on the bottom, like some of the other models that I do like. We don't want this, we want this. Yeah, that's actually, see, I really think this one's giving the best results. I actually think that's really, really nice. I'm going to accept that. So we've got 2,300 faces here. Is it there? It is there. Just hide it for a second. Actually, just going to move it back. So I'm going to quad remesh this again. Let's try and go. Let's try and go even lower. I think this is truest to what the image is, but again, I might be interpreting it my own way. So I'll drop this topology there. Some of the jankiness is how this kind of bends a bit. It'll soften itself out. You know, we'll lose some of the detailing in here, but that's intentional because we can put it back in later. So I think that's okay. I'm going to take that. So I'm going to take the mesh here and hide that. And if I had to choose between these two, yeah, I prefer this one, so I'm just going to hide that as well. So this is Treepo, all that's coming from an FBX. So let's, yeah, that's not the right size, is it? Let's scale it up here. While I'm at it, let's rotate this one 90 degrees so they're all in the same orientation. So I'm just going to scale this up to one of these basically. Let's just take this. Okay, so let's hide that for a second. So this is the one we got out of Treepo with the quad remeshing. And actually, is it? You know, so this is the one out of layer, and this is one out of Treepo itself. They're kind of, yeah, they're basically the same. It's still, sorry, does that whole flattening of the body. I don't think this is accurate to the geometry. I actually think Trellis has given a better result there. It's very flat here, where I think it should be much softer. Anyway, let's do a quad remesh here. Let's try and keep the topology low again. Yeah, that's not great down here. I might be able to go lower and remove that. It's okay, it's usable. Actually, in some ways it's kind of pretty good. It's kind of alright. I like the detailing on the bottom here, so I'm going to keep a copy of that. And I'll work into that one just as a demo here. So, you know, once you've got to this stage, you know, there's still work that you might need to do here. So, you know, I'd love to. Oh, that's good. It is let me pick that as a loop, because I think I want to delete that to soften it a bit, and I want to delete ideally another one. So it is letting me do that, which is nice. Let's just turn our symmetry on here, so that when I'm doing that, I'm only doing the work once. And if I turn on reflection plane and use vertexes here, vertex to there, flip that because I want to keep that side. So I've just deleted again a couple of edge loops in there to soften these edges. That's working really well. Can we take out another one? That's starting to lose the body form a bit, so I won't do that. Inside here, do I need this many edge loops? Probably not. Delete that one, it's softening it again. I kind of like that, I want to do that, I like that. Do I want to take out some more? Probably not that one, because that controls it towards the edge there a bit. I probably want to take this one out. Yeah, I'm going to take that one out. I think that's alright. I'm okay with that. Now, I've got loads of options about how I could go about this. I'm going to copy and paste and hide one of them a second. Break my symmetry because I don't need that for a second. Now, what I need to look at here, of course, is that body can be blow molded as is. However, you know, what can we do up here to kind of make sure this is properly designed for manufacture? Now, I wouldn't try and keep this as sub D here in this case. I'm just about deciding where the lid is and where we would go into like nerves properly. So I think I'll take out all of that. And I think I would take out this as well. I think what I would do here is scale all of this to 0. If I go into my perspective view here, now I've got this kind of circular lid here. And from there I can just taper it up after. Now, one of the issues you'll find here is, of course, if I do a circle, let me do a circle. Of course, a sub D circle is never a circle. So let's do a circle, and let's go from that vertex to that vertex. And we can touch on maybe the front vertex here. You will see that it's not touching all the way around, so it's not a true circle. What we can do is, if we determine how many points there are around here, actually we could pull those points to this circle, but it would be better if this circle was rebuilt with the right number of points. So let's just have a quick look here. How many have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there are 20 points around it. So I rebuilt that with 20 points. Now, let me have a look here. So I need to move this onto the origin properly because it's bugging me here. Take it from that vertex to 0. Now this lies on the origin, that's good. That's okay. Now this circle here, I'm just going to get this. I'm not using my grid snap here, I'm just going to get this as close to that circle as I can, and then I'm going to pull the sub D circle closer to it. That's okay. Let's just come in here now. Do I need that up there? Pull it down a bit. So grab these here, and let's do an align command here to a curve. I'm going to align them to that curve. You will see that it's not the same size as the curve, but it is now it should be much more accurate to the curve. It's not terrible. It's a bit more circular, it's not perfectly circular at the moment. It's not great results, to be honest. I normally get a better result than that. It's not terrible. Might have twisted a bit when I did that now. Do I like that? It's okay. But yeah, I've got it closer to being circular there. And of course I could take this. Could do this 2 nerves. Subnode option, delete input, no. So sub the options here. I'm going to try unpacked. And I'm not going to try and force anything that the extraordinary vertex is, I don't think. If I just do that G0 quickly, what you're going to find here, get that sub D and hide it. Where is it? What you're going to see here is going to look perfect in Zebra, regardless. When you go to curvature analysis, you're going to start seeing some of the less than ideal situations here. Just in max range. It's all pretty grand across here. To be honest, these sections I'm not actually worried about these. They don't look that bad. They don't really look that bad. You know, these are less than ideal, but again, it's a B surface. It's underneath. Here, it's not ideal, but again, it's really a B surface. Do I really care what's happening there? Probably don't really care that much. I probably really don't care that much. So I'm okay with that. And then what we can do here maybe is take this here and let's just do a dupe edge, and let's just join them to make sure that is one curve. So we've got a curve here. I'm just going to hide this for a second. So I've got this curve here. What I want to do is I want to do a circle. It's kind of in the middle of it. It's a true circle. So let's do 22.5. So we've got 45 mil diameter. Get that roughly into the centre of X. So what I'm going to do here, that's alright, that's fine. Loft. Actually, I need them to be at the same height. So I need this to be up here. Do I need to be exactly the same height? Could I taper it up a little bit? Maybe it'll look nice to taper it up a little bit like that. Let's do our loft here. Let's go between that and that. Let's make it, oh god, why is it so wonky? Don't like that. Which is not terrible. It'll do for now. Anyway, so I'll just take those, hide those curves for now though. What I could do potentially is, that should be a true circle now. So if I extrude that up, and I've got my edge there. Oops, hide that, hide that. Hide all the sub Ds again. So can I theoretically grab these surfaces here? For some reason it's not giving me like a great result there, but can I join them? So it is one open. Let's do an isolate command here. So we have got a closed NURBS body here. Obviously the original design is actually tapered here, so yeah, I might not do it that way. I might change that actually. I might say what I want to do here. Actually, I don't like any of that particularly. I'm going to get rid of that for a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that true circle and use that. Is that square to the up? Yeah, that's fine. I might actually rebuild that anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this neck like this, because it's tapered in the original design anyway. I'm going to take the top here, I'm going to scale that in to give it that taper, and then just put the lid on after. Is that looking alright? It's alright. So what I can do again, so maybe see what it won't let me do is it will not let me loft between this. Even if I get rid of those sketches a second, it's not going to let me loft between these. So I'll try and do a loft. It won't let me do that because this is like multiple edges, isn't it? I could duplicate the edge. I could try lofting from here. Ah, didn't need to join them. Silly thing. that it does. If I just try and loft here between the curve and that edge, it's not really going to give me a better result, but let's have a look anyway. It's going to give me about the same kind of quality result, I think. So this is a little bit wonky, but not the end of the world. You might get a better result once you're into SolidWorks. But if I was to join these now, will it let me blend edge? Or is it going to give me a nightmare between these? Again, one is not the best at filleting and blending, so I'm not going to do it here. I could do it in SolidWorks. But if I was in here now, though, can we do an offset surface? Let's go inwards. Bottle thickness, maybe 0.75, which go with 1. Let's see, fingers crossed here. It's going to give us a clean solid. Just thinking about it. If anything, it's this surface here that give me a nightmare, but there we go. Obviously it's not flat at the top, I can clean that up with the trim. So we've got a solid, closed, clean, solid NURBS body. We could take that into SolidWorks if we wanted to. We could do, you know, open the 3DM file in SolidWorks or do a step or just import. But yeah, we've got, you know, NURBS geometry there. Is it usable? Is it manufacturable? I won't be the judge of that.